Hi, third grade friends. It's Mrs. Brown again, and I've got another book to read to you this week. This book is called Lunch to Go, and it's another informational text, which means it's real and full of facts. Let's take a look at that snippet on the back to see what the book will be about. It says, The Tomato's Long Journey. The tomato on your sandwich may have come from a store in your town or from your own garden. But who grew the very first tomatoes? Where did the first lettuce grow? The answers takes us on a journey across 4 continents. Ooh, interesting. Let's take a look at some of those nonfiction text features. We've got our table of contents again that shows us the sections of the book and where we can find them. Oh, we've got headings. This one, so it's 1, lunch. Looks like they're eating lunch at school. I miss eating lunch at school with you guys. I miss the yummy food that Miss Heather and Mr. J makes for us. We've got some captions too. Check it out. On here we have a map. Remember on the snippet where it said that we were going to take a journey across 4 continents? Well, on the Earth, there are 7 continents. Continents are groups of land. So there's different countries, like here, North America. We're in the United States, which is part of North America. And let's see, we're probably kind of where the bottom of the T is. So North America is a continent, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, and Australia. And the one not pictured on here is Antarctica. So we're going to learn about 4 of these different continents and the foods that come from it. So check it out. What are the Americas? Well, the Americas are right here. That's North and South of America. And these are some foods from the Americas. And here are some more foods. And it says these are from Europe. Interesting. Ooh, we've got another map that becomes a diagram that kind of shows us where a food started and how it went, and we follow each number one by one. And there's the key that goes with that map. We've got some subheadings, because here's our big heading, and then subheadings are little sections that fall within the big heading. So this big heading is the sandwich from 4 continents, and it talks about turkey sandwiches and the different breads that are used for sandwiches. Here's the map again, and look, this time it's showing us the different parts of the sandwich. So there's the turkey, there's the grain, that's where bread comes from. We make it from grain. Oh my goodness, what are those? Moo, those are cows. So what do you think we're going to talk about in this one? You're right, it's milk. Milk definitely does a body good. Ooh, my boys would love this page the best. Potato chips are their own food group at our house. And there's another map. So let's go back and let's learn about the different lunches that are served on 4 different continents. I don't know about you, but I think we're going to be hungry by the end of this. Here we go. Lunch to go. 1, lunch. Take a peek inside this lunch bag. There's a turkey sandwich with lettuce and tomato, an apple, a carton of milk, and a bag of chips. It's a simple lunch, but at one time, no one on Earth had all of these foods in one lunch bag. The foods only existed on different continents, 4 continents to be exact. Over thousands of years, explorers, traders, settlers, and soldiers carried foods across the land, bringing new foods to people in other places. Foods traveled across deserts, over mountains, and along rivers. But foods rarely crossed oceans until 1492, when an explorer named Christopher Columbus tried to sail around the world. Have you heard of him before, boys and girls? Check it out. Here's our caption. Remember, it's always important to read all the captions. It says, this bag lunch was brought to you by the explorers, soldiers, settlers, and traders who carried these foods around the world. Foods cross the ocean. Christopher Columbus sailed west from Europe across the Atlantic Ocean looking for the continent of Asia. Instead, he landed on the continents of North and South America, called the Americas. People who lived in Europe didn't know this land existed. He kind of landed right here in the middle part. So he didn't land close to where you guys are in New Berlin. He landed down here. Columbus was looking for spices such as cinnamon and pepper. What he found were foods he had never seen before: corn, beans, chili peppers, and more. He brought some of these foods back to Europe. Other explorers brought other foods home with them. People all over the world began to eat food from the Americas. News of Columbus's journey spread. Soon other explorers and settlers crossed the ocean. They all carried new foods to the Americas from Europe, Africa, and Asia. The foods in our bag lunch were about to meet each other. Here is the story of their journeys. Check it out. Here we go. Captions. What are the Americas? The Americas include the continents of North America and South America. And here we go. We've got squash, tomato, avocado, my favorite, corn, potato, peanuts, chili peppers, and beans. After Columbus's voyage, these foods traveled across the ocean from the Americas to Europe, Africa, and Asia. Here's the next side. Lettuce, cabbage, orange, that's my boy's favorite, pear, onion, lemon, banana, lentils, and rice. After Columbus's voyage, these foods traveled from Europe, Asia, and Africa across the ocean to the Americas. So check it out. These foods went from these continents across the Atlantic Ocean over here, and then these foods came from this side, traveled over the Atlantic Ocean back to the Americas. Christopher Columbus hadn't done that. We may have never eaten a banana. Interesting. The apple's long journey. The apple began its long journey around 10,000 years ago. You can follow this fruit's travels on the map below. 10,000 years is way before Johnny Appleseed. And if we just glance at that map, the number 1's over here, and we know Johnny Appleseed lived in the United States, and that's way over here, so he was definitely not the first. So let's check out our key first. Number 1, the first apples were from wild apple trees in Asia. Number 2, some people began to plant apple seeds across Asia. Number 3, some people brought apples to Africa. Number 4, the city of Rome was home to a great army. Number 5, the Roman army carried apples with them as they marched across Europe. And number 6, many Europeans brought apples to the Americas. Let's take a look at the map. So here's number 1. So here's Asia, where wild apple trees grow in Asia. Number 2, apple trees grow in China. We follow the line. Number 3, apple trees are planted in Egypt. Number 4, Romans start to grow apples. Number 5, Roman armies bring apples to England. Number 6, last stop, friends. Apple trees are finally brought to North America so that we can enjoy them. Thanks, Asia. The sandwich from 4 continents. It takes food from 4 continents to make a turkey, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. Oh my goodness. Turkey. The people in North America were the first to raise turkeys. They raised them for both feathers and food. When Spanish explorers reached what is now the country of Mexico, they got their first taste of turkey. They must have liked it because they carried turkeys all the way back to Spain. Since we're known for turkeys, North America, one of the reasons why we had it at the first Thanksgiving, and still to this day. Bread. To make a sandwich, you need bread. And for most bread, you need wheat. This grain first grew on the continent of Asia. The first people to turn wheat into bread lived on the continent of Africa. So the bread in your sandwich bag began its journey in Asia and Africa. I did not know that bread started in Africa. That's really cool. Lettuce. Lettuce is from Asia and Africa too. Because lettuce spoils quickly, explorers did not carry it on their long journeys. Instead, settlers brought the first lettuce seeds to plant in the Americas. Good thinking. Tomato. Tomatoes come from the mountains of South America. People in South America planted them everywhere. Spanish explorers ate them for the first time when they arrived in Mexico. When the explorers returned home to Europe, they brought tomatoes with them. Later, people brought tomatoes from Europe to other parts of North America. Pretty cool. Where turkey, lettuce, tomatoes, and wheat come from. So there's the turkey, and it's in North America. Tomatoes, South America. And then the lettuce and the wheat grains are from Asia and Africa. Milk from a cow. Before the year 1492, no one in the Americas could drink a glass of milk. No one there could eat cheese, butter, yogurt, or ice cream either. Oh, that's sad. That's because there were no cows in America at that time. There were plenty of other mammals that produced milk, but they were wild animals. It's not likely that anyone wanted to try milking a buffalo, a bear, or a moose. Oh, no. When Columbus landed in America, he must have missed cows and their milk. He brought the first cows across the ocean to America on his very next trip. Well, now we see those everywhere, driving around in Sangamon County. Corn chips and potato chips. Both corn chips and potato chips are from the Americas too. The potato chip is from the mountains of South America. Corn comes from Mexico. Spanish explorers brought both corn and potatoes to Europe. From there, other explorers and settlers carried them all around the world. The first potato chips were invented in the United States by a cook named George Crumb. Thanks, George. The story goes that a cranky customer didn't like George's fried potatoes and sent them back. George got mad. He sliced a potato too thin, cooked it too long, and threw on too much salt. Much to George's surprise, the man loved it. The first potato chips were a hit. Where corn, potatoes, and potato chips come from. So there's potato chips, Saratoga, New York. That's where George must have been. And then Mexico has the corn. Down in South America is the potato. So check it out. That little box shows us that this is that area of the whole big span that had potatoes and corn. The Great Food Exchange. No matter what foods you eat, most of their journeys began thousands of years ago. Travelers and explorers carried foods for thousands of miles until the foods reached ocean shores. Most foods' journeys stopped there, until 1492 when Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas. Columbus's journey inspired many other explorers. Little by little, the foods of the world began to circle the globe. Today, a simple meal may have many foods from many continents. Can you describe the journey of one of the foods in your lunch bag? Well, I'm sure glad that foods traveled around because some of my favorite foods come from other countries. My number one favorite would have to be Thai food, and a close second would be a tie between Italian food and Mexican food. All right, boys and girls, I got another challenge for you this week. And remember, this is only something you have to do if you want to. You don't have to do it. This week, why don't you write to me about some of your favorite foods? Tell me maybe like what you like to have for lunch, what you like to have for dinner, maybe even like what you have for breakfast. I know one of my boys, my littlest guy, Jacob, he would eat breakfast food all day long if I let him. All right, boys and girls, I miss you terribly, and I'll see you again next week with another book. Bye.